Welcome to WYCD Wicked. That stands for What You Can Do. Hello there. Sorry we didn't have much of a lead up to this. I hope I see everything I'm supposed to. Let's turn on, why not, chat overlay. Y'all, I've sent out an invite to Foxxxy. Christy Z, I hope you're out there. I'd like to speak with you as well. And a little, hey, wireless mic, good to see you. Yar first. Yes, indeed. As I was saying, I want to have a couple of conversations today. And first, hey, Pinkerbell, good to see you. First, I'd like to talk with Foxxxy and continue a conversation we started having earlier. Hey, there she is. Let's jump right to it, y'all. What's up, Wicked Foxy Dragon? Oh, wait, I should turn this off and give you a chance to turn on your mic and your camera. Let me know when you're ready to rock. I'll see you in the thing. Here's a recap, and hopefully you can hear me. Oh, what the hell? I'll turn this on, and Foxy, hopefully all's well. See if you can connect. Might take a moment, but here's the deal. I'll give you a recap of what we started talking about. Hey there, an actual cloud. Good to see you. Wireless mic has you beat, but not by much. You're certainly top 3, my brother. Let me just recap what Foxy and I were talking about so we can jump to the point where I essentially said, can we do this live and play the capitalist game? I was not clear on the gag order. I don't fully understand the gag order that happened with Donald Trump in Georgia and Chutkin's gag order either. I'm sorry. I don't think he actually has a gag order in Georgia. Anyway, the gag order he does have confounds me because he's not being held to anything. And Foxy brought up a good point, which I would like her to say as we talk about it. But Foxy, by the way, while I'm recapping our conversation, can you try, I don't know, exiting out and jumping back in? I've got neither. Oh, wait, before you do that, hit the gear, the settings button. You can press S on your keyboard or press the gear button if you see one. And just see if it's selecting the correct camera and microphone. If it's not, just exit out and use that same link. In fact, I'll send another link. Yeah, need a new link? Yeah. I'm setting another link up. Jump down here. Guys, this is not going to be a very polished show because I do just want us to have a couple of genuine conversations. Try this new link I've sent you, Foxy. Hopefully you can connect that way. Let me read you what I wrote, essentially the case I made, and also what Foxy wrote. Okay, so let's start with Foxy. Oh, there, down she is. Can't seem to get the stupid white mic to work. Oh no! Just make sure you're trying the new link that I sent you, and hopefully that'll work. If it doesn't, we'll figure out how we can do this. There are multiple ways I can think of, but try that out because I will not sound as nice. I quoted. Let's read an argument Wicked Foxy Dragon was making. Just jump back up. All right. Foxy said this: the main reason the gag order is not being actively enforced is because Trump appealed it and hasn't gotten a decision from the appellate court. She is most likely waiting for that in response to my saying, I just don't understand why Chutkan has not acted yet. Gag orders are not unconstitutional and are ordered in a lot of cases. For example, O.J. Simpson's murder case, Casey Anthony murder case are just two examples. In 2017, says Foxxxy, Roger Stone was found guilty of obstruction of Congress and violating a gag order. He was sentenced to 40 months in prison, but Trump pardoned him. Michael Cohen was sentenced to 14 days in jail for violating a gag order, too. Rudy Giuliani lost his right to practice law in 2020 due to violating a gag order. Chutkan might be dragging her feet, but I think it's for a good reason, says Foxxxy. You don't want this to cause delays, etc. Trump supporters want to whine about violations of First Amendment rights and blah, 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 but everyone needs to take a step back for a moment, count to 10, and rediscover Uncommon Sense. Fantastic plug. Folks, if you're not following Uncommon Sense on Facebook, I recommend you do. Foxy's got a blog, and it's a good one. The fact still remains, says Foxxxy, that Trump is a criminal defendant facing 4 felony counts in just this case. He is under the supervision of the criminal justice system. He is not a law-abiding citizen and is going to talk himself right into the boiling water. It is by the gracious court's generosity that he is still walking the streets a free man while pending trial. That is not an option that most people are given. See, I agree, and I don't care for that. He is not half as gagged as he could be if the court had applied pretrial process equally and fairly. A criminal defendant is innocent until proven guilty, and nothing says you shouldn't be held by law enforcement until you are proven guilty. If Trump was at a rally and just out of the blue said to the crowd that I am a traitor and should die, she's talking about herself, because I wrote nasty things about him on my blog, I would have legal standing to sue him or sue him to be responsible for protecting me, and I would have an excellent chance to get a guilty judgment in a civil court. Since in civil court, I don't have to prove he did something, he has the burden to prove he didn't. You don't get to go out there and say whatever you want without consequences. So Foxxxy making the point, this is criminal court, not civil court, is what she's saying. That example points to what would happen in civil court. And good point. This is criminal court. So the restraints are greater on the judge here. Fair point, and that does help me understand why Chutkan has not acted on the gag order yet. Yes, no one can stop him from saying anything he wants, not anything, but that does not mean he doesn't have to own up to it. All right, here was my objection. Michael Cohen was sentenced to 14 days in jail for violating a gag order too. I pulled that quote. That's where my confusion is. I understand that Trump's appealing it, but he can do that from a jail cell, as in he can appeal the gag order itself from a jail cell. Imagine if he was appealing an order not to be within 50 feet of his ex-wife. We'd scoff at the idea that he can lurk in the bushes until the 351st appeal he's filed is settled in the Supreme Court. We'd say, sure, we'll figure this out after the fact, but right now, step away from the residence. That is the general place that my objection comes from. Now, I went too specific in that analogy, and here's Foxxxy setting me straight. Hopefully, Foxxxy, you can join in. I see you. Okay, let's see if this works now. An actual cloud. Chutkan made the gag order effective immediately, and then Trump requested a stay on the order until the appeal. Chutkan granted the stay. Yes, true. And I disagree with that. I think she should not have. Oh no, Foxxxy. I don't have you. Okay. Keep trying. Maybe click buttons if you can find something cool. If not, just drop your response to the next thing I'm going to say. I'm going to read what you said about your response to the my analogy there, and then I'll respond to that. And type your further response if you want me to read it, and I shall. But I compared it to what if a person was harassing their ex-wife. Here's what Foxxxy says: the issue of the gag order when appealing an order is it kind of goes into the place of nirvana, not hell but not heaven. You have to When you have a protection order, you don't get to appeal it, and that is different than a court order. Protection orders toe the line. A judge signs them, but not in the same way they make an order. I don't think there's a way that you can even argue against a protection order. Anyone can file one against another person, and there isn't much you can do to make it go away unless it expires. And you go on to fully flesh that out in a way that is correct. I'm going to skip most of it because my analogy was awkward. Let me just read this part. You only get sent to prison if you are sentenced to more than 1 year. If it is under 1 year, you just go to jail. Skipping down. So when you are charged with a crime, you are evaluated for what release is going to look like. And really, they don't hold someone in custody unless the charges are for a violent crime. I disagree with that. Or, there we go, they are a huge flight risk. I withdraw that. I have read this already. I should have known you were about to say that. They don't like holding people when they are supposed to be presumed innocent. It causes issues later if they are acquitted. Yes, and also it helps get the trial overturned, theoretically. Trump is still innocent. Well, I mean, to the people who do not have uncommon sense. Okay, so here's the problem I have. Trump set aside all the details. And this is what I'd like you to respond to if you're able. Set aside all the details, all the legal jargon. Set aside all of the talking points we're going to hear from either side, and ask yourself, when will they have no choice? Assuming Trump does get tossed in jail before the trial starts, when will they have no choice? I will put it to you that it will happen when an officer of the court or a politician is attacked by somebody citing something Trump said after the gag order was first issued. That's when I think they are going to say, we're revoking his bail. I don't even care what the gag order said. He violated, just plain and simple, the conditions of his bail. And what makes me so angry about that is that you and I and Donald James X and PNC Bio and Wireless Mike and Pinkerbell and an actual cloud and everybody, no need LT9K, everybody has to endure the danger first. When we get attacked, there's no order issued. When we get attacked, he isn't put in jail. When somebody cites the words he said after he was initially arrested and attacks us, nothing's going to happen. Nothing has happened. Nothing will happen. It will not happen until somebody that they consider to be important is harmed. And that fundamentally is what I disagree with. And that is what I would like to see the courts take seriously. Because if they don't, this isn't really a debate. This is just a conversation. I'm just expressing my concerns. If they don't, they're setting a precedent. They're continuing a precedent, I should say, that it's okay to attack us, that we're less important than what they consider to be the important people. And I won't have it. Wicked Foxy Dragon saying, maybe not even then. That is the benefit of being Trump. Shouldn't be. We should take away that benefit. We should put him in jail. Y'all, I'm going to drop the link in the channel chat. If you want to call in, oopsie daisy. If you want to call in, there we go. Just click that link and you can call in and we'll talk. Foxy. Oh, sorry. I understand. Yep. Do what you got to do, Foxy. Thanks for joining. We'll try it again another day. I took too long vamping. Good on you. I'm gonna There we go. 1 second, folks. Hope. All right, gang. Christy Z, if you're out there, I would love for you to call in so we can have our Biden talk / I can figure out if this works. Otherwise, no worries, y'all. Feel free to call in if you just want to talk about anything at all. I'll be tedious. If you want to discuss anything we talked about in the last stream, I'm happy to, or just that's also fine. Christy Z, hello. Well, oh, I hear a sound.
Why can't I hear?
Oh, can you hear me now? I definitely hear you.
I can't hear him.
Oh.
I can't hear him.
Well, we can hear you. Try turning the volume up. Are you on a phone? Why would you? Hold on. Are you on a phone? Hopefully. Oh, here we go.
Hello? There
Hello.
we go.
Hey,
there
perfect.
we go.
We got it.
Technology. There it is.
Well
Hello,
done,
Jake.
Christy. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing super well. A lot of really bad people are having really bad days tonight, and that makes me happy.
Well,
Be
prepared for a really good one to get a spanking this evening, so it'll balance out.
All right, fair enough, and I embraced. I do want to say also, I just saw Wicked Foxy Dragon. I'm sorry about that accident. That's unfortunate. Hopefully, all is well. Fingers crossed, Foxy. We're hoping for it. All right, Christy.
Okay.
What about? Here's my question to you to start us off, but feel free to just let loose, talk about whatever.
I have estrogen running through my DNA. I'm ready to to do this.
Fair enough. All right, my starter question is: what about Biden's response to the Hamas attack on Israel and Israel's insane counterattack? Do you not approve of?
Okay.
I'll take myself off the screen.
Okay, so let's start with I would ask, do you, Darwin? Sorry, my dog. Do you support Indigenous Day and Native rights? Would you have supported the slave revolts or people like Nat Turner? Did you support the apartheid in Africa?
No.
So right. So since I think it was maybe 1946, Israel has imposed itself on Palestine. And it has been a brutal, bloody, inhumane system of oppression that has been backed by all the European countries. They use words like they're rats, they're inhumane, they're rapists, they're baby killers, all these things that sort of permit genocide. And this has been going on forever. I mean, and we've supported it. So I guess like we give Israel $8 billion a year in military aid. Israel controls Palestine's water, their electric, the food that they get, medical supplies, their shelter. They're not allowed to gather in groups of 10 or more. They're not allowed to protest. When Biden went and he's been aiding this situation. So if you don't support the Native American genocide, if you didn't support the African American genocide, if you didn't support apartheid, it seems that it would fall in line that you also don't support the genocide of the Palestinians, and that we are the bullies.
Can I pause you there?
Absolutely.
So just with the way you're talking about it so far, let me do a comparative situation. Let's say it's 1791, and you're on the outskirts of the colonies.
Okay.
and you've got a farm with your family and kids, and a bunch of native folks, the
Hmm.
indigenous peoples,
Hmm.
run in and kill everybody
Right.
except for you.
Okay.
You're obviously in a position where, regardless of how you feel about colonists, you feel your family should not have been killed, and I would probably agree with you. Would you say that is true so far? It's not a trick. I'm just
Actually, no, I would slightly disagree with you in
ooh,
the sense of I'm on their land.
fair.
We took we're on like we invaded here. We took everything. We made them sick. We killed their children. We worked them to death.
The
So
child.
if you well, I
Did the
think
child have a
witness
choice?
many different civilizations, many different times where people have had to rise up, whether it's a prison revolt or any type of protest. Sometimes energies need to match. Sometimes you can't get your point across any other way than violence because
Let me
that you're
pull
dealing
in
with. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
let me pull into this hypothetical even more
Okay.
to help clarify my point. The
Okay.
child
Hmm.
who lived on that land in your
Right.
home and did not have a choice in the matter. Can we agree that the child should not have been killed because the child did not get any say in the situation? They are a bystander.
I would agree that it would be very sad and unfortunate if my child died. I mean, I of course,
Can we
but would
agree
I
that it would have
then
been wrong for the warriors to decide to kill the child and carry that out?
I'd have to understand their point that this is an invader and this child is going to grow up and avenge the situation. I think that oppression and genocide brings out the worst in the oppressed. And when
Yes.
you feel backed in a corner, you may have no choice. And if you've gotten to the point where you would kill a baby, you'd really have to ask what put you in this, what happened to you? What put you in this position to go to these lengths? And
From our oh, go ahead.
no, I mean there has always been allies in in every situation, like with slavery, that people say, oh, white people were so forth. No, there's always been white people that have walked in and said, what the hell are the rest of you doing? We're not cool with this.
Sure.
But it's also very hard on site to differentiate those people. So
You
if the
can
natives are
differentiate.
saying,
Hold on. Before we get too lost, I don't wanna let you hang yourself on rope you're weaving here. Before we get too lost in this, I think it's not a difficult standard of behavior to insist upon, to say that under no circumstances, forget how what I'm gonna say about Hamas, what I'm gonna say about Israel, forget all of that, and just and decide whether or not we agree on the core concept that under no circumstances, no matter how you feel you've personally been treated, under no circumstances is the targeting and attack of a child, including the Palestinian kid in the United States that got murdered recently,
oh,
acceptable. It's not an acceptable way to get
I mean,
politics done, to get
I
anything.
I don't think it's going to result in any resolution of the conflict or any peace or any healing. I don't think that should be a utilized option. Um,
Perfect.
and
Agreed.
yeah, I'll leave it there.
And
Okay.
we can and we can we likely also agree on the circumstances leading up to that and how understandable they are. But whether or not they're understandable is a separate thing from whether or not it should be done. So
Agreed.
if we're starting from there and we're using our own tragic history as an example,
Hmm.
what ideally the mayor of the town that you live in that old west scenario, 1700s, whatever, the mayor of the town comes in and says, I'm going to help you resolve the situation. What would you want them ideally? I mean, you can be as fantastical as you want. What would you
Oh no, I
want
think it's
them
quite
to do?
simple. I
Yeah.
think I would want them to go to the Native American tribes that existed previously on that land, or very well still do, and see if there could be a coexistence. And there may be compromises that we as the settlers have to make. They were
Mm.
there first. We are their guests. So I would want to stop any more bloodshed, have a conversation, and see if we can find a way to coexist. I would want the mayor to be a leader and a voice of reason. I would want to de escalate the situation as much as possible.
In the days since October 7th, what has I don't want to whiplash too strongly. Let me put a pin in that. I agree. Is all I'm arriving at with that situation is that I agree with generally how you view things. In now to move on and imagine or not imagine, but go to the real world with Biden as the mayor here, the unrelated person, government figure brought in. What has he done since October 7th that you disagree with? And I think you listed some things in the comments before. I'd just like you to rephrase it for the sake of the live audience.
Okay, well, I hold Biden in sort of at a higher at a higher bar, because he is well aware of the realities of what has been going on in
Sure.
Israel.
He's part of it. Or he
Ideally,
helped make it happen, unfortunately.
correct. Ideally, I would like him to insist and assist in creating maybe a two-state solution, in insisting that Israel may no longer impose all of these sanctions on them. At,
Mm.
at the very least, at the moment, a ceasefire. Stop. If I mean, obviously, I could go into like little thing, but obviously it's wrong to kill children. It's wrong on both sides. They have
Yes.
dropped thousands and thousands and thousands of bombs on these people. They have no what he could have told them to turn the water back on. He could have told them to let the aid in that Egypt has for them, to turn the electricity back on, to absolutely insist, or there will be repercussions if another hospital gets bombed, or ambulances are targeted. He is the leader of the United States of America. His power is limitless. His
I must
influence
pause you
is
there.
limitless.
I must pause you. It's not. It's not limitless. It feels like it,
In this
but it is not.
situation,
Yes, especially in this situation. We'll return to that in a moment, and you may disagree with me, and I may get my ass handed to me in a second. But first, let me give context in the off chance people are watching this in the future. When Christy says that it's wrong to kill children on both sides,
it
let
is
me be
wrong
clear.
to kill children. Let me be clear. Yes.
Yeah, well, but when she's saying on both sides, as we are speaking right now, the Israeli military is killing children. There's no way around that.
And have been.
So, and have been, and that can't be understated. So when she says she's angry with Biden, it's not over. It's not over nothing. It's not over some obscure political thing. It's because Biden is our responsibility in this situation at the end of the day. And we want no part of that. We want no part. I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, but we do not want to be responsible for the death of children. So it's a fair point, is all I'm saying to future people. To that end, when you say though that Biden essentially has what I'm trying to get at is that when you say that Biden has the ability to stop it, I think that's where we disagree on what the facts on the ground are. And I want to stress I might be wrong. But
He could make it much more difficult if he stopped funding their military at the tune of $8 billion a year.
A
He
year.
doesn't give at a year, and he
As
doesn't
in,
give any money or aid to Palestine. As a matter of fact, I believe after he promised them 8 billion as of late, and Ukraine, which again we are protecting the bullied in that situation and not the
yes.
bully. I think they're getting 16 billion. Forgive me, my numbers may be off. And told uh, Gaza or the Palestinians after this had taken place, I'll send you 10. I think it was 10 million. So,
Mm.
so it's such an absolute. He, he is blatantly and in our faces trying to justify and fool us and put on some weird rose colored glasses that the person that has been sitting there getting kicked in the face, and their daughter and their son and their father and their mother and their aunts and uncles and cousins, and they finally stand up and punch that bully back in the face. And look at Israel's
Whoa.
reaction to this punch in the face. Like, they
So
got this
I
huge
gotta
punch
pause you.
and they've bombed them to bits and pieces, so clearly they don't like being messed with. Maybe they should
I
stop
gotta
doing
pause
this
you.
to.
They did not punch the bully in the face. That is not at all what they did. Also, the people who were getting bullied didn't do the punching. Hamas is different than the people of Palestine, just like Netanyahu is different than the people of Israel. Hamas is a far right terrorist organization. The leadership in Israel currently, the Netanyahu government, is a far right, arguably terrorist organization.
That is a
There
good
are
point, and you're correct. It is the Israeli government. A lot of Israelis are actually completely against this attack on Gaza.
yes, to the point of protesting. What I would suggest is that Biden cannot go in and say you're not going to war. You're not going to attack these people. One thing Biden did do that's evidence to the contrary, that's evidence that he tried to calm things down, is an old fashioned and it turns out ineffective method. When he physically showed up to Israel, that was not to support Netanyahu, that was to get him to not commit troops. Because it's known to be, and if what I'm about to sound, or if I'm about to say sounds weak, I agree it is, but it's just what the understanding of what he was trying to do. He showed up to Israel because it's largely understood that you don't go to war while you have visiting dignitaries. Unfortunately, he showed up and they did it anyway. But I think that speaks both to his intentions and his inability to force with Israel.
I disagree. I don't think it's time to be subtle.
I agree.
People
No,
are
I agree with you.
dying by the thousands. If I saw a woman or a child or an elderly person or a disabled person getting hurt by somebody punching, I would have to intervene. If
Yes.
was the president of the United States and saw thousands of them being murdered and cut off from food and water and electricity, I wouldn't just take a trip to Israel and be subtle. I would say, I insist, or I won't send you another $8 billion. I insist, if you want money or military aid, which our Navy just shot down some drones. So we've actually put our military directly into this conflict, that Israel would have at least opened the Egyptian border for some aid. I mean, these are war crimes. This is horrifying as we speak. And for the last 2 weeks, there are people laying there, third degree burns over most of their body, limbs missing. People don't have a home anymore. These Palestinians have nowhere to go. They're closed off by land, sea, air. They're just cannon fodder. They're fish in a barrel. And any human being worth a grain of salt would say, you have to stop doing that. You can't murder these people. And I believe the Palestinian population, maybe 60% of them, or a large portion, is children. It's
Children. Yeah.
predominantly children. So, and they keep giving the quotes on women and children. Men are dying horrifically too. I mean, these people are really suffering, and there's not even aid. There's not even light or clean water. Like you have to be a human being. You just have to. Okay, you did something horrific, just like what happened to us at 9/11. Every single 9/11, I spend the entire day crying my eyes out. I have a flag with everybody's name that passed away on it. I don't make sure that anyone, forgets that. But our response and going to Iran and blowing it to hell was absolutely wrong, and for more reasons than one. So I
I
just
have a
think that
belief.
their response is way, way overdone, and they need to kind of. I mean, after they bombed it to shit, they're sending 300,000 troops in there. I mean, what is going to be left?
I have a belief that these modern terrorist attacks take two parts. And wireless Mike, by the way, I see you. And this is going to be a long conversation. I want to talk fully with Christy, but if you're still on, cool. I'm happy to. I would love to talk to you after this. But to the heart of the matter here, I have a belief that these terrorist attacks are in two phases. The first is the initial attack, and the second, oh, cool. And the second is the response to the attack, which I think is part of the planned damage. I think they target us, countries, when they are have a weakness of having right wing leadership, and Hamas has done that with Netanyahu. My question for you is: you said you would threaten to cut off the 8 billion in aid.
In
I think that's
military.
in military aid. Yeah, I think that's a fair threat to make. My question would be, what would you do if you make that threat and then Netanyahu says, "Fine, cut it off,"
Then
and
at
continues
least
on?
I could sleep at night that I did something. I mean, he could take it further, and if you don't give these people some sort, treat them better than a dog. Like, you would if you caught a mouse, you would give it food and water. So if the 8 billion thing didn't work, you don't help these people, and we're not going to be friends anymore. If I
Yeah.
know correctly, Israel doesn't have a lot of natural resources to support themselves. Really, they need that aid from us, and I think that other countries, other European countries, would also fall in line. Israel would feel the pressure and back off. All they have to, they're not defending themselves anymore. October 7th was the last time they had to defend themselves. Now it's just nonstop. We will kill each and every one of you. They were bombing it while they still had the captives. So
So,
I don't know.
to the question of what could Biden have done differently, the answer largely was threaten to cut off the aid. I think that's a fair
And
answer,
ask for a ceasefire
and ask for a ceasefire. Indeed,
and let the aid in and turn the
and let
lights
the aid
on
in.
and let them have water.
I think, and this is the thing I knew you were going to win on as soon as I saw it. I thought he had, and he hasn't. I have no. I just there's no way. In lawyer terms, they would say, don't waste your time trying to defend an untenable case. That's an untenable case. The aid must
I
go.
mean, I posed the question: would you be friends with someone like that if you knew somebody had either aided or abetted someone that killed 100 people? Would you give a shit if they love their dog? Like,
I
there's
don't
no
agree that he
redeeming
has.
qualities in somebody that's capable of being just not doing anything while all these people die. And I
Would
have
I
to
be
vote
friends
for
with
him
such a
as the
person?
leader of our country. It's tough. I apologize.
Well, no, it's all good. Would I? Let's answer it one at a time in reverse order. Would I be friends with such a person? No, but I don't believe that Biden is such a person.
He
Here's why.
vetoed that ceasefire. The UN said,
But
you know what, go ahead, give them food, give them this. And the United States was the only country that vetoed it. We were the only one in the UN that said, nope, no food for you, no water for you, no
all right, so
electricity for your
as a,
hospital.
I'll let the point go. But as a matter of clarity, there is an aid package that is being sent. But there's as I said, I'm not even going to bother defending the veto. I'm sorry. You're right. He should not have done that. And I agree that sucks. Point against Biden. But the painting of him as doing nothing is, I think, fundamentally not accurate. I understand where that impression
You were
would come from.
drowning, and I threw you a stick. I tried to
Wait a
help,
minute.
but it
No, no,
wasn't
no.
really
I
sufficient.
you got to let me go for a while because
Okay.
there's a change of perspective. I think I'd like you to consider, even if you don't adopt.
Okay.
When he went there, first and foremost, that in and of itself was an attempt to stop massive violence. Understand that this is the United States in 2023, a mere 20 years, so 2 decades, not terribly long, after we started a full 20-year war, which he ended over our own terrorist attack. He then, while he was there, told the people who had just endured such an attack of our own pain and our own mistake in overreacting and listening to our right wing psycho at the time. He told a crowd of the injured, a crowd of people who may have lost family in that abhorrent attack, to hold your horses and don't take it out on the Palestinian people, take it out on Hamas. I think that's not only brave, I think that's admirable. And I think that is more than any other president, including, God help me, Barack Obama, would have done from what I have seen. I understand that there's better people in the world to be president, but of the people who have been president, I cannot fathom better behavior. And lastly, I think the idea that the U.S. is pulling the strings of Israel becomes, unfortunately, less and less true every day. And unfortunately, Israel is in a situation right now where it's like if we had endured an attack while Trump was in charge. That's how Netanyahu is like a smart Trump. So imagine, the leader of our biggest allies trying to tell Trump what to do when he really didn't wanna. Biden is operating within those constraints, and he talked to the people of Israel. He made it clear that he doesn't support an indefinite yada yada yada, but also he doesn't simply have the ability to tell Netanyahu, no, we're not going to turn on your guns. They have the guns. I'm angry that Biden gave them the guns and all that means in the first place, but they have them already, and they're making an attempt to use them on Palestinians unjustly. And I think Biden has done. And my only disagreement with you, unfortunately, is that instead of thinking he's done an abysmal job, I think he's merely done a barely acceptable job. I take that back. I think he's done an inadequate job, just inadequate instead of terrible.
Well, I think our bar for what terrible is different, because your defense of him is, well, he went to Israel and he told them to stop it.
Yes.
Okay, you have that in the Biden one corner, but in the
Yeah.
Biden lose corner, he did not insist on a ceasefire. He vetoed the UN trying to help them out. He did not insist they would turn on water, food, or electric. He
Can I
didn't.
ask a question about that?
Yeah,
Because this list is helpful. What do you mean by insist? I guess insist or what?
I think he should have attempted to do just that and find out. I think he should have some bite. Be a man of your word. Stand your ground. I will take these things away if you don't stop committing genocide of these people. I want to be on the right side of history. I don't agree with
Take what
slavery. I
away?
don't agree with the apartheid. I don't agree with what we did to the Native Americans. And I don't agree with what you're doing to the Palestinians. This is wrong. You're chasing them off of their land. You're putting them in an open air prison. You're controlling their entire existence. You're kicking them
Agreed.
while they're down. And instead of somebody coming to their aid, he tells the people that are doing all this to stop it. But I'll get you that $8 billion as soon as I get back to the office. And if you try, and
So
if any of you Palestinians want water or food or electricity, Don't look to me for it. I'm going to continue. Biden said a million times, we stand by Israel. We back you up. We're there with you. We'll never falter. He made it about the Holocaust and Jews. Like, this isn't
Ooh,
about religion
yeah.
or anything. This is about people that were living somewhere, and these displaced people came in and are doing to the Palestinians what was done to them. And
If
Biden is not doing anything to help that situation. I would think he would do anything in his power. I named a few things that he could have done, and on insist
yeah, I'd like to
take
ask about him.
sanctions.
You
Just
said
like
you
he did
said
with Russia when they invaded Ukraine. What did he do
you,
to Russia? He got everybody together and said, "We're going to stop you from getting this and stop you from getting that and sanction this and sanction that and this, that, the other. And we're going to send Ukraine military weapons and money. And, we're going to get all these other countries to do it too. And rah, rah, rah." But when it
let's
comes to the
pause it because
Palestinians,
we're
kick
starting to
rocks.
build arguments on things that I on shaky ground, on things at least that aren't clearly defined. So starting with Ukraine, Russia, the key difference. You know what I'm going to say there? Ukraine didn't attack Russia to start. Now the Palestinian people didn't attack the Israeli people, but it's a fundamentally different situation.
Well, I would argue
Uh,
that the Israeli people or the Israeli government
true,
did attack the
has
Palestinians
been.
first and have been for the last, what, 75 years?
But the inciting incident. I mean, I don't disagree on the context of the incident, but the actual inciting incident that kicked off this new round of fighting was Hamas fighters attacking Israeli civilians, and now we have
It's the same
Israel
as when
attacking.
Antifa shows up. I mean, to some, just for a comparison of ideology, I suppose, uh, an Antifa sort of a vibe, if you will. It's the I mean, again, I think the worst of situations brings out the worst in people. And when your back is against the wall and you're being attacked, you just go mad after a while. Uh,
I think the going mad is the joining Hamas.
but
Um,
what would you do? So if you are the oppressed, though, Jake, flip it around
mm,
to where you are in your house right now. You know what? You're an atheist. I'm a fellow atheist.
mm.
This country is, I believe you're American, correct? Are you
Yes,
Canadian? American. Okay.
as long as they'll have me.
Right, right. I'm working on getting a passport myself, just in case Trump gets back in. But
I
let's
bet.
say, for instance, that the Christian right, Trump, universe forbid,
Mm,
takes power, and this becomes, um, dictatorship,
mm.
and he institutes martial law, and these MAGA Republican Christians come in and decide to take over your home, and they beat the crap out of your family, this, that, the other. Are you going to sit there and take it and take it and take it as they kill all your family members, or are you going to fight back? And does that make you a lunatic if you kill them?
Well, I'd like us to stop conflating fighting back against armed forces with attacking civilians. Because Hamas did not fight back against Israel. Hamas attacked Israeli civilians. Do we agree that that fundamentally is different? It's holding the people accountable. What is it? It's collective punishment. It's the very same thing Israel is currently doing to Palestine, to Gaza.
They they have tried begging, they have tried reason, they have tried
Set all that
protest,
aside.
they have tried marching.
All
What
irrelevant.
is left when you're being killed? I just don't understand what you're
Not
going to have
attacking
to do.
civilians.
I'm sorry.
I mean, the question you're asking me, what would I do? I would attack people with guns. Not I would use guns to attack people. I would attack people who are holding guns, and I would lose badly. But that is what I would do. I would not attack civilians, no matter how crazy I got. And there is no justification. There just is no justification. It's called collective punishment. It is a war crime. It was a war crime when Hamas did it on October 7th, and it is currently a war crime that a ally of ours is doing in response. There's no justification for collective punishment. But all of this is sort of moot because the question is, what could Biden have done since October 7th when this new event kicked off? We want to talk about what he should have done before October 7th. Oh, Lord, that's going to be a big agreement fest. Lots of things. We should have been already staunchly against Israel's treatment of the people who are living in Gaza, whoever they are. But since October 7th, what could he have done? I agree, the veto, that goes in the bad column. I don't agree that the rest of that stuff goes in the bad column because it's all under the assumption that threatening to withhold the $8 billion would actually have worked. And we don't even know, for that matter, that he didn't. We just don't know. You're saying he should have made perhaps public threats. I don't agree with that because that ruins your ability to negotiate, to actually make it
I
happen.
don't think he should have made any threats. And again, I think there should have been a ceasefire. I think there should have been allowed aid. And I think that he should have insisted that Israel stop bombing or they don't get their aid. Israel's
But
going
that's
to,
my question. How do you know he didn't?
because he vetoed even them getting aid. He went against the entire UN, so I highly doubt. And as a matter of fact, Biden has claimed quite proudly that he'll be sending it out. That was recently out of the White House as of the last couple of days.
But
So since he left Israel,
whether or not it's right, part of our military presence in the Middle East, well, not part, the majority of our military presence remaining in the Middle East, where we believe, I don't think this is accurate, but Biden will have had evil people whispering into his ear telling him that the next 9/11 is being stopped because Israel is there keeping all these brown folks in line. He is of the belief, and again, I'm this is not me supporting him. I'm just trying to explain his behavior as best I can halfway across the world. He's of the belief that his people's security is dependent on Israel having a stable military, not a military killing another nearby country, but being ready to do just that at any given moment. So to say, from his perspective, that I disagree with, to say we will withhold your funding is to say we will pull you off the walls guarding our fortress. It doesn't, in other words, I just don't think it was ever really, the military funding was ever really on the negotiating table. If it should have been, okay, you and I are in agreement there. But where I think we're in disagreement is whether or not that would have stopped Netanyahu. $8 billion in military funding could get replaced overnight by the Chinese, who are looking to make friends in the area, by the Russians, who are frankly more of Netanyahu's speed these days than we are.
well, I have to admit I'm ignorant to what other aid we provide them, or what other European countries provide them. But I would have to believe that they could come up with something that to have a ceasefire. Israel has been killing civilians in Palestine forever. I think since 2008 to now, they're at 150,000 Palestinians that they've killed. There's not that many Hamas. The people that they're killing now are not all Hamas. Like, I really believe that Biden could tell the other countries, like, listen, you just got to stop murdering. Okay, you're done now. You're all done. You've dropped 6,000, 7,000 bombs. You got 300,000 people about to go in there. Chill out. I mean, you get that on the battlefield. You get that in any war at all. These are crimes against humanity. The Geneva Convention. Biden has a leg to stand on to make this stop. He's choosing not to.
Where we probably will still disagree is whether or not he's choosing not to. I think he is trying ineffectually currently, and he may. I hold out hope, not because I think it's likely, but because I desperately need to hope he may be successful. But I think
Well, the Palestinians are hopeful as well.
Yeah, I think regardless, there's already dead kids. There's already dead Palestinians, and there's going to be more, and that's incredibly sad. And at the end of the day, we are doing triage as best we can.
No,
And
right now we're sitting by and watching. We're not even doing triage.
I mean, you and I mean, we're trying to figure out how to
Absolutely. Like
salvage
just
this.
being able to speak the truth and have an intellectually stimulating debate and to keep the
Yeah.
conversation going and to keep people aware that it boils down to, at the end of the day, that these two peoples are killing each other at an insane rate over religious beliefs and territory.
And at the behest of far right governments. I mean, at the end of the day, if you had
Absolutely.
a hippie lefty government in either leadership role, this would not be happening.
1,000%. 1,000%.
Christy, thank you for joining me. I'd like
No,
to
this was
bust
amazing.
wireless
Thank
mics
you
for
so
it.
much. You're great. I watch you all the time.
Oh
I
my gosh,
absolutely
yes.
adore you. And I will be a loyal watcher forever. I thank you so much for the opportunity to be able to chat with you.
Absolutely. I hope to do it again. I'll see you around, my friend.
See you around.
That was Christy Z, y'all. She is an absolute doll. Thank you so much, Christy, for joining. And there's a fella whose balls I gotta bust a little bit. Wireless Mike. I was in such a good mood, Mike. And then and then we did that last segment. I got real angry.
Oh God, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. How
Okay,
are
I'm
you?
not too. I'm okay, and I apologize. I didn't really think that you would go that deep into it, and I apologize for bringing it up so late. I honestly wish that I had waited, because I seriously believe you could do an entire episode on just that one video, because it gets very in depth into not just what those psychos are doing in that tent in a public park in a city square, but
Hmm.
it talks about what other religious leaders and scholars here in Tennessee are saying in reaction to it, and the way they're explaining it, they're like, this is very bad. Even Christians here, like staunch Christian leaders here, are saying this is a extremely bad sign. And the scary part
Good.
is, because of where it's happening here in Tennessee, which I know a lot of people don't realize, I never realized how apparently important Tennessee is politically all throughout our freaking history.
I hope they
Uh,
do, because it is.
this is what they're saying, that this is probably some kind of testing ground for what's going to be happening in other states all over the country in 2024. If she succeeds in pulling this off, and she still can win, that's the freakiest, scariest part about this. That psycho can still win that election, even with all of the attention. It's even getting national attention. I've seen it. I've seen it on last week tonight with John Oliver did a segment on that psycho. That's about as big as you can get. That's I mean sure, MSNBC or whoever else could, CNN, they could do a bit on it. But when you got the writers of John Oliver breaking that shit down and focusing a segment on that to show just how insane this is, that's a sign that it's getting way more attention than anything else that usually happens around here does. And it's been sparked by what happened with the Tennessee Three. We've been getting a lot of attention lately. But even long before that, all of these right-wing nut jobs who are putting on their shows and broadcasting. You got everybody from oh God, I can't even think of their names right now. I'm drawing a blank. But all of the Daily Wire people, or Daily
Oh,
is it Daily Call or Daily Wire?
yeah.
All of those people, they live
Both are
here.
terrible.
They live here in Nashville, Tennessee. There's like 7 of them. They all live here. They do their shows from the Ryman Auditorium, which is the home of the Grand Ole Opry. Okay, they
Oh,
do all of their shows from right here in my town. We even got that crazy psycho. What was her name? The little blonde Barbie doll that was. She used to be on Fox News, and then they got rid of her because she had abortion.
abortion.
I can't
Yeah,
remember her name.
Tommy Lauren.
Yes, even
Yeah.
she moved here, and she does her show from here. They've been moving here for years, trying to take over Tennessee because, one, we're a distribution hub for all kinds of stuff because 5 major interstates intersect right here in the city's capital. So our airport, our trucking, everything, we connect all over the East and Southeast. You have to go through Tennessee to do it. And they've been working for years. The Tennessee 3 was just like a little pimple that popped up that couldn't be ignored. And, luckily we popped it and it's healing and there might be some good to come of it, but it's gotten a lot more of attention than all the other stuff normally does. And it's getting scary.
The tiny piece of good news, and it's not great news, but you can't gerrymander a town. So,
they did. They
town?
did. They had to reverse it. Yeah,
For a mayoral, how is that even possible?
No, maybe not that small town, but it's just south of the capital. But in the last 3 or 4 years here in Nashville, Tennessee, Nashville-Davidson County, which is where the capital sits, 2 years ago, maybe it was 3 years ago, I forget the actual date, they actually pushed and separated Nashville-Davidson County, which has always been one district, into 3 separate districts, just in time for an election. Now, here recently, the city has turned around and sued them, and that is very likely to be reversed. I think parts of it were reversed by the time we had our recent mayoral elections, and our mayor happens to be pretty, I don't know how progressive. He talks pretty progressive. He's mostly focused on improving infrastructure, improving public transit, stopping the inflation of taxes and property and stuff around here to help people who've lived here all their lives afford to be able to keep their family homes, because people have been getting taxed out of their homes because of the new construction and rich people, developers moving in and buying up everything and turning it into rental property all around Nashville. Plus, we've got half a dozen downtown high-rise condos that go, anywhere from $1 million up to $4 million per, all over downtown. Like, the rich outsiders have been moving into this state, this city. Nashville is like little Hollywood all of a sudden. You got celebrities and business goons alike that are all moving in and buying up everything they can as fast as they can and turning it into corporate central, corporate capital right here.
I have
it's
many
getting
questions.
crazy. So do I. Sorry, go ahead.
To start, just how do you have any sense of the town Hanson is running in, how large it is, and I'll be listening with my camera off if that's all right.
It is, yeah, that's okay. I don't know that much about it. I tend to avoid that part of town because it is one of, if not the richest districts in Middle Tennessee. Most of the wealthiest people traditionally have lived there. There's a lot of very large historic mansions and farm land, and so it's always been a very high-end, high-dollar part of Tennessee up until recently. Some of these outsiders moving in, they're moving into other surrounding counties because even for them, I guess Nashville property has gotten a little too expensive, and they're going out and buying up farmland and stuff that's undeveloped to do all kinds of new development. But that part of town has always been the one part of Tennessee that, when there's a beautification project for the interstates to get all the, the nice foliage and they keep the streets clean and all that kind of stuff. It's one of the entryways where you're going to see a big welcome to Nashville or welcome to the community sign for travelers. They're the ones that get all that attention. Meanwhile, there's litter, there's broken, potholes every freaking where in all of the other surrounding counties and in Middle Tennessee. I mean, in Nashville. Our roads, we've had terrible representation, and this is all fairly new for Tennessee. Tennessee used to be purple at best, mostly Democratic, up until, I want to say, mid to late 90s, people started swinging really hard right, and Republicans started taking over all the other outside counties.
Newt
So
Gingrich.
right now,
And Rush Limbaugh.
Newt Gingrich was 100%. Yes, that was huge. And once Reagan got elected, that's when it really started trickling in. But it was around the 90s when it really started just picking up pace, and it's just been a steady climb ever
things
since.
Got irrational. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, when Obama got elected, it was like, you could hear some pretty horrible things that had nothing to do with his politics, I say in quote, and everything to do about his skin color. Just standing in line at a freaking Wendy's, you're going to hear somebody really loud out in the dining room causing a scene, because there was a black president all of a sudden, and even some of the black people here were like, "Oh, he ain't even black. He ain't dark enough." I mean, it was that extreme on all sides. Tennessee has got some weird mojo going on here, man.
It's not terribly hard to picture where that comes from. If everywhere you go, the only thing you hear is negative things about somebody, let's just say Democrats generally, you might not agree with the people that are saying negative things, but you won't have any positive things to say about those folks. So you will get weird behavior. But sticking to Franklin, I looked it up. Apparently, it has a population of 85,000. That's a lot in my book. That's a big town.
Yeah, it's a pretty big town, and they got a lot of big money and big things down there.
How many people voted? Oh, wait, let me try this again.
Early voting started this week, and I want to say in the first 2 days they already had like 13 to 14% of the voters, which is pretty high. It's usually around 3% at around the same time. Early voting ends, I think it's a week from now, and I haven't even looked at the stats or any of the polls coming out.
In 2022, November 8th, there was 40. God, of course, we got to get our game up. There was 45% voter turnout, which is pretty high, honestly, for an off-year election. So let me try to do some math here. 80.
And in Franklin, I would imagine that was probably 80 to 90% Republican, and that's not an exaggeration. I don't think a Democrat has even run in that city for anything in the last 20 years, maybe even longer.
We need to hope that at a minimum, then, 38,000 people vote against Hansen. Who's the other person? Who's the person she's running against? I don't.
The incumbent mayor, who is also a Republican.
Okay.
At least he's not going around saying that he got a message from God before the school shooting, and he also doesn't have residency in Atlanta.
This person
is great. This woman is as shady as they get. It's like between her and the guy who's running for alderman. I think I sent you a video about him too.
Yes,
that guy is an absolute clown. He's like little Tennessee Santos. Like I don't even know that that's his real name. Nobody knows anything about this guy.
First of all, if I wasn't aware of politics, Tennessee Santos is a name I would be trying to get for myself because it sounds cool. But
it sounds like a good band.
It does. It sounds like a good band or a bad disease. What have you got? A real bad case of Tennessee Santos.
Yeah, man. It doesn't just burn when I pee.
It burns when I do anything. It's Santos.
Yeah.
But
every time I turn on the microwave.
I'm not concerned, if I'm being honest, that Hansen is going to win. I understand that you say it's likely, or not likely. You say it's possible, and I acknowledge that. But boy,
it's overwhelmingly possible. You also have to keep in mind too that just east of where I live, about 30 miles away, is that other permanent tent revival church. The guy named what's his freaking name? Locke. Something Locke. Greg Locke.
Greg Locke, yeah. Pastor Greg Locke. He's
30 miles away from me.
He's an actual terrorist.
Absolutely, yes.
Greg Locke is,
Yes.
I mean, he's a hate crime in motion at all times. You know what? How about this? I'm sorry, we might do a two-parter on this, but since we're going to be covering the election results anyway, we're too invested not to. Let me say this: I
Oh
will
yeah.
talk about Greg Locke, and I didn't realize he
Yeah.
was
Oh
right
yeah.
down the street.
And also, so he's east of me. Franklin is south of me, and to the west of me is a town called Cheatham County, which, as I understand, is rated as one of the top 15 counties in the entire United States for drug overdose deaths. It is a little small town.
So I assume also run by Republicans.
Blink and you miss it. Yes, absolutely, and that is where that grocery or the gas station that this crazy bitch in Franklin did the real estate deal for the white supremacist group that is showing up. That is where that gas station is. That's where that group is based. Is just to the west of us. About, I want to say it's about 20, 30 miles outside of Nashville. So it's like we're surrounded on all sides, not just by red, but by deep, psychotic, like manic episode kind of red, just waiting to happen.
Look, you got him surrounded on all sides.
Oh God, I can't even keep up
believe
with
in
all
you.
of this. I'm seriously considering just getting the hell out, man. It's
Well, I
getting that ugly.
understand it. Well, I absolutely understand it. I gotta say, you could if you can find a way to get elected to office, you could show up and do nothing but play paper football all day, and you would be better for the people of this town.
I could never get elected here because of one, my work history, my past profession. Like it's not like I've ever done anything that wrong. I don't even have a freaking police record of any kind. But my work history, my past profession, and my associations throughout my life, my school grades, all of that, I would be ripped apart by anybody who tried to who ran against me. I would be completely ripped apart.
You wouldn't even have to campaign. You literally every speech you just say, "I just want to say
I'm sorry,
not a Nazi."
You're breaking up all of a sudden.
Oh, probably my fault.
No,
Can
okay,
you hear
you're
me?
back. You're back.
Okay.
I can hear you now.
All you would have to do is go up on everything and be like, "Yeah, I'm not a Nazi. Everything else they said about me is true. I just want to add that also I'm not a Nazi." So I assume I win. I'll be waiting for the keys. I'll see you.
Nazis walk up and down the streets here with their tattoos showing because they're proud of them. And we're in the blue part. We're in the blue part.
I might just take a trip down to say hello. In the meantime, there's somebody that's wanted to talk, and I want to give him a fair crack at it. I'm going to let you go, Mike.
Thanks for letting me talk. I'll catch you at another time. Appreciate you, brother. Good night, everybody.
Appreciate you. Bye. All right, that was Wireless Mike, a longtime pal, and delighted that he called in. Thank you, Mike, and thank you for keeping the home fires burning in some of the most difficult places to do that. And if you gotta go, you gotta go. I don't blame you either. I also want to thank Christy Z again for the conversation. It was a good one. And on that note, we have a third. I'm going to unpin this message because after this, I'm watching Letterhack. But we have a third caller I would like to talk to, and they are named well, the right-wing neighbor. How are you? Hello there. Oh, I know this person, I think. Go ahead. Hello there.
What's wrong? What?
Oh, I don't know.
What's wrong? Why you? What's your problem with Trump?
Oh, what's my problem with Trump? I mean, I got a laundry list. Do you want just generally?
You ever go outside when it's real cold and slip on the ice?
Yes.
And you fall, and you have a bad day.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
All right, Trump's just having a bad day. And you are picking fun and trying to make it worse on him. And what did he do to you? Has he said,
Oh,
"Hey, man, I don't like your YouTube," and no, he ain't
no,
done that. Have he?
I'm positive he does not know who I am.
Well, why are you picking on? He was a president.
Unfortunately, he was. Yes.
Well,
I
what
mean,
if
do you want a
give me
serious
top?
response, or
Yeah,
I
I'm
can goof
on
around?
top 3 reasons that man is on your list.
Okay, top 3. This is a good way to structure it. Top
Top
3.
3. Don't give
You
me
can put.
4
All
or
right.
5, because I know if you're a liberal, you'll be like, "Oh, I'll be liberal," and just go on and on and
No, you're
on
right. I'm
and be
tempted to, but
top
you're right.
3
I'll respect the format.
and quit.
Top 3. Number 1 is going to be the needless deaths of at least hundreds of thousands of Americans
Not
due to
fair.
COVID misinformation.
And that's why they got him in court.
No,
Right.
no.
Number 2.
Number 2 is the reason they have him in court. It's the attempted overthrow of democracy.
Biden is next
Biden is next. How?
in court. And if he ain't, he ought to be.
Well, I do disagree with that. That's a separate conversation. If you
Now,
let me put
did
it like
you
this, if
ever
you could,
did
whoa,
you
whoa, wait,
ever rake
let
all
me
the
just put a
leaves
cap
in
on
your
that last
yard
thing.
and jump in a
Well,
pile
I'm
of
going
leaves and
to mute you. So here's the thing, man. If you can get Biden in court, like if you can genuinely put together a case, I would like you to, truly, or anybody that you're supporting. But do you want to hear the third, or do you want to stick on Trump in court for a while? Well, actually, I'd want to stick on Trump in court for a
Did
while.
you ever rake a pile of leaves,
Mm.
jump in them,
Mm.
and realize the rake was in the pile of leaves? And you're
I've
having a
done the
bad
equivalent.
day. And now you're having a bad day.
I mean, I'm generally having a bad day, but it's mostly my doing,
Trump's
and
just
it's
having a
mostly
bad
contributed.
day. Now,
I
his
mean, he is.
bad day,
No question, you're right.
I'll
He is
give you
having a
this.
bad
His
day.
bad day is several in a row. I'll give you this. But
That's accurate.
name a president that hadn't had a bad day.
Oh, I certainly couldn't, but the degree of badness changes significantly. You
Give
want
me
my third thing?
Give me number 3.
Okay. Number 3 is attempting to extort Ukraine, and ultimately, in my opinion, causing the invasion of Ukraine. Doesn't really need any further.
Over my head.
Okay, fair enough.
I admit it's over my head.
That's fine.
Point 1, don't disagree. Point 2,
Mm.
disagree. Point 3, over my head. You're winning me over it. You're winning me over.
Oh, fair enough.
Point 1, that's all right.
On point 2, I will admit this. I could be wrong. We have yet to find out if I'm right. I could be wrong. We'll see. When it plays out in court, if I'm wrong, I'm going to look really foolish, really publicly.
You like
Say
to
la vie.
admit when you're wrong, huh?
I do, because it takes all the pressure off
What's
for
your
being
favorite
right all the
color?
time. That's a legitimately difficult question to answer. Right now, orange. Burnt orange. How about you?
You go ahead and admit you're wrong there, because that is not a good color whatsoever.
Burnt orange? It looks really good, I thought. All right, what's your favorite color?
Red.
That's a fine color.
That's this country's color. Red. Bright red. Coast to coast. In the next election, like it or not, you lose.
Are you aware that the color red is traditionally associated with left-wing parties in every other country? It's not a gotcha. I'm just curious. Did you know that? I just found that out.
Now, look, if you want to go on and lie and make up lies and act like real funny, like I don't know about the Europes and the other Americas and the Canadas, you go on ahead.
It is in the Canadas. Out of curiosity, what's your reasoning? Why do you think it's going to be red from states are going to go Republican from coast to coast
Look at the polls.
in the U.S.? The polls.
Look at the polls.
I mean, I'll say this. in a lot of polls, satisfaction, or not satisfaction, but people saying they will vote for Trump is higher than people saying they will vote for Biden. And that shocks me, given the seriousness of the allegations against Trump. I would think nobody would say they will vote for Trump.
How long
I
you
don't
had?
understand
How,
it.
how long you had this show?
Oh, God, going on almost a whole year. Not very long at all.
But there are a lot
It's a
of
new
shows
show.
like this.
There are a lot of shows like this.
Name
I
one.
would hope so.
Name one.
I'm in a bit of a pickle here because I'm gonna seem arrogant no matter what I say. How about this? The Majority Report is somewhat similar. Really,
Never
wait a
heard
minute,
of.
guys. That shocks me. I would recommend you listen to them, even if you don't agree with them. I would recommend you listen. Here's why I think it would be fun for you to listen to them. Even if you don't agree, you will understand probably with a lot better clarity
Give me
why
one
lefties
reason why I
believe
should
what they
listen.
believe.
Give me one good reason why I should listen to. What'd you call them? Minority Report.
The Majority Report,
Why should I listen? Give me one reason.
because they are the reason that a lot of lefties believe what they believe. The interviews that they do have on,
Oof.
they're incredibly
You're
informative.
losing me. You're losing me on that one. I'm not gonna lie.
Well,
You're losing me there.
I
Give me
assume
another.
you're in opposition
Give me
to the
another one.
lefties.
Give me another one.
Okay, it's funny. Sam Cedar is a funny man.
Give me another show.
Another show, The Letter Hack.
Something good. The what?
Oh, something good. In that case, Environmental Coffee House is what I would recommend.
What was the one you said? I don't drink coffee. I drink
Oh,
tea.
fair
What was
enough.
the one
Well,
you
then,
said right
you're
before
going to
that?
take a downgrade in quality, but Letter Hack for sure.
What is that?
That is a show where a fella draws his guests as he interviews them.
Draws them.
Yes, sir.
With a what?
I've been trying to figure that out. I think it's a tablet. Somehow he does it so that we can see what he's drawing as he does
On a
it.
computer?
Yes.
Huh.
It's a good one. I'd recommend it. And if not that, you could check out Andrea Ravinsky. I don't know how I mispronounced her name. What do you recommend I check out?
I think you should listen to The Letter Hack as much as possible.
I knew it.
Outstanding show. I think it's a
knew it.
great recommendation. I mean, the other ones are okay, but
You had me going for so long, sir.
so, I was trying not to. I was like, okay, he knows it's me, but if I don't stop, he'll think maybe I don't know who this is.
It wasn't until right at the end you started asking for recommendations. I'm like, all right, I got
I was
this.
gonna see if you were gonna say The Letter Hack.
Oh
right.
man, thank you for calling in. I'm gonna go watch your show now.
Well, I'm gonna take some
Get
phone
off here
calls.
so I can get in your chat.
I'm
All right,
not kidding.
fantastic.
All right, sorry, man.
No. We're gonna wrap this up so I can go watch your show. I'll see you in like 30 seconds.
Okay, see ya.
See you, man. Guys, I had a blast. Thank y'all for hanging out with me. Y'all heard? I'm gonna go check out this. We got a wise guy here, a Weisenheimer. I'm gonna go bust his chops in the chat. Thank y'all for hanging out. We'll see you next time. This is WYCD Wicked. That stands for What You Can't Do. My name's Jake.